Hello and welcome back to Berserker, and you can see here our war exhaustion is not so good. I mean, not ours specifically, but obviously our opponent, the Sturgeons. They have 82 war exhaustion at the moment, and I have 76% HP to go into this battle with. This is the kind of thing I've been doing basically. I've just kind of run up here, and I thought to myself, should I take Takor Castle? I actually thought to myself I should probably take this ahead of going over to Varnovapol, but I had no idea what was going on in this area. So I thought, hey, you know what? Why don't I just go up here and take a look? And this is what has been going on. So you can see here that in the garrison, in the town itself, they have 192 and 38 wounded. And that is a pretty significant defensive force for 300 units to take on. I highly doubt Varshorki's army is going to be able to do anything here. So I'm actually just going to let the game run a little bit. And when we get down to about 150, I think, 150 defenders or something like that, that is when I will decide to go in. And there we go. Alright, I think that should be fine. Now, don't worry about this. Actually, I thought to myself, maybe I should go in beforehand, but generally, I kind of feel like AI-controlled fiefs, they should be exhausted as much as possible. And I'm talking very gameplay-esque here, not in a roleplay sense, where I'm trying to be honorable or I'm trying to be as supportive as possible to my forces or anything like that. Because if you think about it from a gameplay perspective, the AI is always going to be able to replenish their forces much faster and more efficiently than I am. So most of the time I'm just going to sacrifice their combat strength for mine, or in general I'm just going to make sure that I have the advantage in almost every single situation if I can help it. Obviously there have been those moments where I have been outnumbered and have been overpowered by the opponent, and we've seen that quite often. So obviously those are the kinds of things that may happen, so we need to be very careful about that in the future. But obviously not so recently we've had to deal with anything like that. Now I do have a much longer axe now, so I am very much happy about that. That means that I am going to be a lot more effective against cavalry units, and that means that these guys have something to fear from me this time around. Instead of just me being some random bystander that they're going to be running around and passing by on the battlefield, I'm actually going to be a bit of a threat. As you can see right there, we took out that guy without too many difficulties at all. Now, I do have to be a bit careful about the fellows that are running around with lances and spears and things like that, because those are definitely going to be someone that we need to be a bit careful of, but yeah, I don't think we really need to worry about it at the moment. Now, I have read your comments, don't worry about that. I read your comments about the javelins, and I think what I'm going to do is I will place a set of javelins in my third slot, because someone had a suggestion that I thought was a good idea as well, so why not? Let's do it. Let's do that. And we're going to replace my one-handed sword. The main reason why I was using my one-handed sword to begin with was so that I could maintain and indeed acquire a lot of the various perks that would be available in the one-handed perk tree. And that's obviously the thing that, you know, is so incredibly useful for movement speed, and in some cases just generally going to be more powerful for the sake of having those. And that was the only reason why I was using a one-handed, apart from the fact that maybe it could be kind of useful in close quarter situations. So for example in sieges and stuff like that, if I'm ever cornered or something by a number of units. I mean, I know we've had a bunch of those situations recently, but generally I don't really feel like that is necessary. What? Oh yes, I remember. Okay. Yeah, I was literally thinking to myself, when I killed this horse archer right here, I thought to myself, wait a minute, does that guy have some really hilariously named weapons? And yeah, it turns out that it's just my weapons that are hilariously named. Hug me to live and hold F to replace. Murderous disaster of bread. Yes, indeed. Okay, well, let's just speed things up real fast. We're gonna get the victory in just a second. Oh, dearie me. Alright, so yeah, someone actually gave me a good idea for another set of thrown weapons, whatever they may be, whether they're javelins or whether they're thrown axes or whatever. And what was it now? Here, catch or something? Here, catch. So in other words, you know, I'm throwing it to you, you better catch it. And yeah, you know, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So that would be pretty fun to use that name, I think. Anyway, we're going to be taking... Oh, should I actually take... Oh, no, I shouldn't have taken this guy prisoner, actually. I should have let him go just for the sake of having enormous relation increases with the various clans of the Sturgians, because then we're going to be having a much easier time of persuading them. And actually, speaking about persuasion, by the way, I had an opportunity to persuade another vassal, someone from the Vlandians. He was actually a friend of ours. I don't know whether you saw that at the end of the previous episode, but I sent off a bunch of messengers, or I tried, you know, to contact some friends, some people with high relation with us, and I was able to speak to a couple of people. One of the people was already in an army, so obviously that wasn't going to work. And then another one, I think I failed with the persuasion attempt because they just had either too much relation with their current liege, or I had too little relation, or whatever the case may be. But I was able to persuade this guy. Yeah, I was able to persuade this guy. And I had 2 critical successes, which is just absolutely amazing. It really is. And now he has 2 fiefs. I've actually given him 2 fiefs. And yeah, I'm actually going to show you him in just a second, and his clan. I'm not entirely sure if he's any good, by the way. I'm just trying to get some numbers on our side. Ooh, it seems like he has a pretty decent clan right here. Clan tier 5, no less. So yeah, we were able to get him to join us. And as you can see, I gave him Sessadheim Castle and Oosterkol Castle. Personally, I think giving him Oosterkol Castle was a bit of a mistake, but I kind of wanted to give him a castle that was somewhat on the, well, somewhat in the Sturgian area, shall we say, because I kind of wanted him to be a bit present, shall we say. So I wanted him to be up here rather than all the way down wherever Sessadheim Castle is here. Yes, that's the kind of thing I didn't want him to do. I didn't want him to just relax all the way over there. I would have preferred him to be a bit active on the front lines, and that was the main purpose for me doing that. Anyway, Varnovapol is no longer under siege because we've just taken care of their army, so that's pretty nice. And I'm going to head back to Balgard right now. Oh, there seems to be an army gathering. Okay, that's kind of interesting. This is a huge mistake on your part, Mr. Oh. Of course he would go in there. Ah, yes. How wonderful. Oh, well, never mind, never mind. Okay, so, wait a minute. Let me just see. Is she the... No, she's not the head of this. Oh, she's actually part of Ragnvad's clan, so probably be a good idea to eliminate her, and then probably to let her go, just in case, but we're going to take a couple of extra prisoners. Obviously, the amount of loot I am getting now is so enormous, it is just ludicrous. Absolutely ridiculous amounts of loot every single time. And what's actually going on here with Yorig's army? He has 1,200 combat strength. He must have sent for pretty much every single vassal in my faction right now to join us. Or to join him, shall we say. Lek is being a very annoying individual right now, isn't he? Look at him. Okay, so I'm actually going to do this now, where I'm cutting him off from the back. So now he cannot possibly escape if I'm able to get him into a nice little engagement here. Very nice indeed. Okay, so there you go. Now we have another one of these field battles. And I think after this, we might even indeed be able to take Sibir. And if we're able to take Sibir, that is basically the Sturgians done. I know some of you said that, you know, you feel sorry for the Sturgians. And yeah, okay, I can definitely see that. But just bear this in mind. The Sturgians are actually some of the factions that we are on extremely friendly terms with at this point. We have very good relations with them. So if they decide to leave their faction and defect to someone else, even if it is not us, we might very well have the opportunity to persuade them to join us because of our high relation with them. And I gotta say, I feel like the developers have done a fantastic job of refining the persuasion system, because I know that in previous series and maybe even in previous episodes of this one, I've been a little bit critical of the persuasion system because, you know, most of the time, whenever I would try in those very sparse moments when I'd have the opportunity to, you know, try and persuade someone to join me or whatever, I've always had a very negative experience in regards to, well, I've just persuaded this guy, I'm in the barter screen now, how much money is he asking me for? Oh, he's asking me for 1.8 million. You know, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. But they seem to have normalized the pricing. They seem to have normalized how much money these vassals want to be able to join you, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion, because now they're only asking for about 100,000, and that's for a tier 5 clan. The Vlandian vassal that I just got, he asked for what was it now? He asked for 110,000 or something along those lines, and I thought to myself, wow, that's a bargain. That is an absolute bargain right there. And I was just thinking, yep, let's do that. Let's do that. And that's the kind of thing I want to see. I mean, obviously, do bear in mind that he does have the possibility of, you know, defecting, and that's obviously pretty bad if he decides to defect, because then he's going to defect and he might take his fiefs with him. It very much depends on if we are at war against his original faction. So, you know, if he's, you know, or should we say, if we are at war against the Vlandians, then he might very well decide to go and rejoin them. And in that case, he's going to take Sestadheim Castle and Ustakol Castle with him, which is obviously what has happened to me in the past. So we're going to cross fingers on that and hope that that does not happen. But if it does, then, well, we're just going to have to roll with it and see what happens. But generally, I would say that the persuasion system is looking much better than it used to be. And I'm very happy to say that, to be honest, because I personally find the persuasion system to be an extremely fun mechanic, and I was very disappointed when it was so, shall we say, unusable or very costly, because, as I said before, you know, if you're going to spend, you know, almost 2 million gold on getting someone to join your faction, and then you have no guarantee that they're going to stay with you for any length of time, well, then it's kind of a bit of a sore spot, you know, because if you spend 2 million and you only have 2.5 or 2.1 or however much, and you get this guy to join you, and then he ends up leaving like a day later, well, that's obviously kind of critical and pretty bad. So yeah, it's nice to see that they have normalized everything and made it so much better. So I'm very encouraged by that, and I'm very much liking it. Anyway, there you go. Let's let all of these people go for the most part. There we are. And we'll take all of the prisoners that we can. Bear in mind that we do have someone else with us at the moment, so we can allow some of those prisoners to go with them. As you can see, we have Isilkred, the Grizzled, and he's going to take some of the overflow of the prisoners right there. Alright, so let's go into Balgard here. I'm going to sell the prisoners for 86,000. Yeah. Personally, I'm not really going to try super hard to level up roguery any further, because I personally feel like we have already a significant amount of skill points in that. And if I do get a certain number of a certain number of prisoners, then yeah, sure, I'm just going to sell them if I, you know, have the opportunity to do so. But I'm not going to go out of my way any further to do that. You know, I'm just going to do things a little bit more naturally now, because as it was before, I was very much focused on one thing and one thing alone, and that was obviously attempting to try and get roguery skill to 275, and now that it's there, I don't really need to worry about it that much more. So anyway, let's go into the javelins right here. Oh yeah, look at that. I've actually got a bunch. I've got a bunch of very cool ones, actually. Okay, this is nice. Anyway, let's see if I can make a really, really good javelin. What about an oak one? Well, what's the difference? Damage, weight. Damage, weight. Okay, I think I like more damage, to be honest. So I'm going to go for the mahogany javelin shaft, and I'm also going to increase the damage even further by doing that. It's going to increase the weight, though. So that might be a little bit of a problem, but I think I'll go with it. And what do we have here? This is going to increase its length or not, as the case may be. Look at this. It makes no difference to the stats. Look at that. it makes no difference to the stats whatsoever. It just makes it a little bit prettier, I guess. Yeah, makes it a little bit prettier. Okay, that's kind of interesting that it's a cosmetic-only upgrade. I mean, I wonder whether this does anything. It must, surely. Surely that must do something. Well, it looks cool, but yeah, well, whatever the case. Okay, yeah, we'll just do that. And this obviously does do something. It increases the weapon reach, and that's all it does. That's kind of interesting. Okay, well, I need to refine some stuff first, because apparently that is what I need to do. Okay, let's just do a couple of these then. There we are. And now I should be able to do it. Let me actually just increase this a little bit more as well. That's going to increase weapon reach once more. It might make it kind of unwieldy, but I'm going to try it out and see how that goes. I think it looks quite deadly right now, so we're going to do that. Let's hope for a masterwork proc. No, we didn't get any kind of activation right there. That's kind of unfortunate, but there you go. Here, catch. Haha, I remembered the name. Haha, fantastic. All right, there you go. So we're going to be using that instead of our one-handed sword. And thanks again for that suggestion. That's definitely going to be quite fun, in my opinion, now that we have that new perk. I was actually thinking that maybe I would replace one of the thrown axes, because as it stands, the thrown axes, while they are extremely usable, they feel much less damaging, if you know what I mean. They feel very not so strong in comparison to javelins, for example. So I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to keep this particular setup or whether I'm just going to swap out Throwing Vengeance of Fluffy Clouds, because this does have a slightly less statistic of missile speed, so it might be better for me to just switch back to something else. But as you can see, look at the crafted javelins I used to make in comparison to the javelins that I just made just now, and you can see the difference. Everything is so much better. Well, maybe not so much better, but quite a bit better. And I'm very happy to say that we're gonna see that new perk in action. So let's see what I can do about that. Let's go and try and take tack or cut. What? Why are there so many people here? They literally have 387. 380? What? Okay, that's a scary number right there. That is a very scary number. Okay, I'm actually kind of surprised. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna level up. Oh yeah, that actually reminds me. I need to go over to Omor, I think, because I have way too many random units in my army at the moment, and I don't particularly want them. No offense. But I just generally don't want these raiders and Crusade units. I'm going to keep the Sturgeons because I actually quite like Sturgeon mounted units. It's kind of a bit weird, I know, because generally I'm not a terribly big fan of Sturgeon units, but I actually kind of like their cavalry. I think their cavalry is quite fun. Actually, should I keep them? It's not going to make any difference whatsoever for me to just have 8 cavalry, is it? So I'm just going to actually swap them out, and then we're going to take a bunch of these berserkers. Hilariously enough, we have 77 of these. I'm not entirely sure why we have 77 of them. It must be because a lot of my parties have stopped by and maybe placed a bunch in the garrison here, because I know for certain that I did not have this many last time I was here. But there you go. All right, we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good with these guys. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I have 803 combat strength without anyone else in my army at the moment. And Yorig is actually attempting to take Takor Castle by the looks of things. Yes, he is. Look at that. Takor Castle is under siege. Very nice to see that. Okay, so while he's doing that, is the game running right now? Wait a minute. Let me actually just pause this real fast, just in case it continues running while I'm looking at the the encyclopedia. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's have a look here. I would like... Yes, I would like Lek to join me, please. I hope he's not in an army. I mean, he's just been defeated by me, so hopefully he is not in an army as I send a messenger to him. Could you just go in there and take that? I'm not entirely sure what Yorig is doing, but okay. Okay, so he's not in an army. Fantastic. Look at that. As your friend, I give you my word that I won't breathe a word to anyone else about this conversation. Oh yes, except you. You you know, you're watching this, yes, except you. You're the one that's privy to this information. Okay, so if he ever violated his oath to you, it absolves you of your duty to him. Yes, there we go. And we are also going to then do the final one. All right, put your interests in the good of the realm first. And there we are. Fantastic. Yeah, relation seems to have a much greater effect on whether you're able to persuade people than it used to, and I'm very pleased to see that. The persuasion system seems to really be absolutely wonderful now. And as you can see, look at how little I need to spend to get Lek to join us. And this is amazing, actually, to be able to get someone that is the leader of a tier 5 clan, even though the clan wealth is poor, and generally their clan strength is very low. That is, I think, primarily because I've just defeated him for the, I don't know how many times, but yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm actually going to give him more money. I'm going to give him 15,000. There we go. And I actually increased... I increased my relation with the guy by 47 because I gave him 10,000 more gold. I mean, I think it's kind of necessary, no? I think it's a good idea to give him a little bit of extra cash here and there. Just because he kind of deserves it for leaving his faction and all that stuff. So I'm actually going to give him Mekalovia Castle because it is very close by to Sturgian territory and it kind of makes sense. So we're going to give that to him. He's got even more relation with us now, which is really nice. And I actually want to give him another fief, but I don't think I have anything nearby. I could give him Omor, but is that too much? I think it might be too much, because I know that some of you are giving me warnings about, you know, being a little bit too generous. I know someone did mention quite specifically that maybe it would be a good idea to be a little wary about providing towns to these vassals, because if the towns, you know, if the vassal gets, you know, persuaded, or if they defect or something, then it's obviously going to be pretty bad. Anyway, when you visit your own settlements, they get a +5 loyalty bonus once per day. That is the most powerful perk, in my opinion at least, in the charm perk tree. But that is only if you don't have any policies, and if you are not using the policy system correctly, which obviously you've taught me about that. You've taught me about the policies being super good for loyalty building, so it's actually not that important anymore. But let's have a look here. What is the other option? Gain +1 influence per day for each allied lord party that are not currently in an army while waiting in the same town. That's a mouthful. I'm going to go for parade anyway, because I think that that is just so good. And it tops up any loyalty that you potentially need or want. And we're just going to let Yorig do his own thing. I mean, there's 388 here. He should be able to take this without too many difficulties. I've already taken a look at the composition, and the composition is negligible to say the least. So I don't think they really need to worry about anything there. Okay, so we were able to persuade Lek. Let's see who else is a friend of ours. What about this guy? He's the head, but I cannot send a messenger to him for some reason. I don't know why that is. What else do we have going on here? What about this guy? He's the... Oh, this is good. Oh, but look. His traits are not very good. Yeah, look at that. Look at this. He has the reputation of being dishonorable in every way. Yeah, we probably don't want to do that, do we? No, probably not. Okay, well, what about this guy? No, can't send a messenger to him for some reason. What about this guy? No, can't send a guy to him either. Okay, he has the reputation of being fierce and cruel. Oh, okay, well, we might have some issues with that then. Anyway, I'm going to try and attack this army. I'm basically just trying to keep the Sturgians from forming any kind of legitimate resistance at the moment. And that means going after any army that I see right now, and that is it. I'm not actually trying to get loot or XP or anything like that. I'm just literally trying to remove the opportunity for them to launch any kind of offense against us and to keep them as weak as possible. I know that seems very cold-blooded, but that's how it is. That's how it is. I mean, especially considering we are just about to eliminate their faction, or very, very close to eliminating it. And yeah, we're going to try and besiege Sibir, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'm actually wondering, should I build siege? Britannia has formed an alliance with... Ooh, okay. Yeah, we're not going to build siege. We need to go in here real fast, because I do not want the Britannians declaring war against me on the spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and take this as soon as possible. And obviously, thanks to the fact that when you're in an actual siege battle or a field battle or anything, the outside world comes to a standstill and they're frozen in time, basically. So they're not going to be doing anything outside of here. But once we get out, what I'm going to do is I'm hoping, cross fingers, that Tackle Castle is going to be close to being taken. If it's not, then I'm going to have to launch some kind of peace talks with the Sturgians and hope that the Battanians have not already declared war at that point. Did I literally just take 146 damage from a ballista? Yes, I think I did. I survived a ballista shot to the abdomen. There's not many people that can say that, that's for sure. Yeah, that is pretty... well, that's very unrealistic, but apart from it being completely unrealistic, it is very damaging indeed from a gameplay perspective. And I probably should have died, but there you go. Alright, let's do some damage here.
Everyone attack!
Well, it looks like that is all she wrote, or all Sibir wrote, that is for sure. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so unfortunately, because I got a bit carried away with hunting down some of the enemy units, I kind of got a bit, well, got a bit lost within the keep, but also I didn't really know where the enemies were going to run to in the case of a retreat order, and so some of them were able to get into the keep, but obviously that is not that big a deal. Anyway, we're going to once again be releasing most of these people. Yeah, I guess we will. I mean, I'm kind of in two minds about it, really, because on the one hand, I think it's kind of nice to be able to sell them, because our money situation is not the best. But generally, I think it's a good idea to do so. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to claim this fief because I want to see who the people think they should vote for. And I think that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to let it go to a vote. And if I have to go in here again and take it for any particular reason, then I think that's going to be quite fun to do anyway, because I actually quite like the siege map. I think the siege map of Sibir is quite enjoyable to play on, so I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, yeah, my money situation, as I said, is a little bit worrying because I am, well, I'm paying for everyone, basically. Yes, I'm paying for all of my party wages, as you can quite clearly see. There's quite a lot of those. And, of course, apart from that, I am paying for pretty much every single garrison that I own. And you can see that by the bear icon right here, the black and white icon that you see before you right here, that is all me. Yes, that is all me. And all those fiefs, I am the one having to take care of that with the garrison. So I'm thinking that what I'll try to do, that was the reason why I set up such a, well, I thought quite a moderate amount of units in the garrison each, because obviously 250 for castles and 350 for towns. So I thought that was pretty good. You know, I didn't think that was going overboard or anything, but apparently, yeah, apparently I'm having some issues with that. Anyway, Sibir is about to be put up to the vote, but we also have Tackle Castle. How is it going with the Botanians? I mean, war exhaustion is about to kick in with the Sturgians as well, so we've got to bear that in mind. So I'm very much hoping that Tackle Castle is going to get taken in a minute. Got to be a bit careful about Sibir as well, because we don't want that to get taken back instantly. Okay, so they're actually splitting it between these guys. What? Yorig? I mean, he already owns a town. Is this guy actually nice, though? He has the reputation of being brave but headstrong. I mean, I think that's... Oh, look, a noble family that is backing Bruce in the Civil War. He's a chieftain of the Botanians? What? No, he's not. His clan is a Vlandian name. Culture Vlandia, as you can see right there. That is weird. Okay. I have no idea what's going on with that. Well, considering the fact that this guy doesn't have any towns to speak of at all, I thought it might make sense for me to give it to him. Lek only has Mekalovia Castle as well, and Lek is a very nice guy, as you can see right here. He has the reputation of being brave and generous, a good friend to have. So I'm thinking that maybe it would be a good idea for me to give it to Lek, even though everyone else is going to be really annoyed at this. But I think Lek actually deserves it the most, to be honest. I think the others already have some pretty decent fiefs. I mean, I guess the reason why it actually mentions Botanian clans is because we ourselves are from the Botanian culture. That might make the most sense right there. But anyway, Tackle Castle is not being taken by the looks of things. So it seems as though the war exhaustion is going to kick in unless I take it myself. But for now, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.